Greeting class. Today I would like to show you how one can create a switch statement. We have talked about the switch statement and if statement are the queued questions and answers, and one of the substitute to if statement is a switch statement. So given that, I would like to go ahead and demonstrate how one can create a switch statement. As usual, the first thing we have to do is we have to create a project. So we have to launch our Visual Studio 2010, launch, and then under new, create a new project. We're going to call this project How to Create a Switch State. Click OK. Next, and we're going to use the empty project. The next step would be, of course, to add a new item under source, new item, and C++ file. We're going to call this just switch. You can name it whatever you would like to name it. Alright, now we have our global space, the area where we can actually type our code. The first thing we have to do is, of course, we need to include our libraries. So we're going to include the include statement, IO stream. Next, we're going to be using the using command. The output, the standard output. We're declaring the standard input from the library using, and then we're going to use end of line statement. As you can see here, the compiler is complaining that we have forgotten something. So in this case, we forgot a column, and if we put that, the error message disappears. Next, what we need to do is we have to create our main function. Put the braces, and we'll also put some comment here stating the main function begins here, and then let's close this and say end of the main function. It's always a good idea to put comments, because once your code gets larger, it'll be able to troubleshoot and figure out what is what. Alright, so I think we have our main function, we begin and end, so that looks good. No error messages. Now what we need to do is, let's talk what we're going to create. Our objective will be to create a switch statement that prints a message based on the total inputs that are entered by the user. Alright, so now what we need to do is here, first of all, we need to create our while loop statement. So, and then this while statement, we're going to put a condition. We're going to say input, if input is less than 999, for instance. Let's continue the loop statement. And here again, we're going to put our comment here saying begin the while loop starts, and then we're going to put another comment here saying end of while loop. Right, So that's done as well. So now within that, so as you can see, we have an error here. So the reason for this error is because we haven't declared our variable. So let's go ahead and declare our variable input as int. And let's initialize it. Always it's a good idea to initialize that. So as you can see, the compiler does not show any errors, and we have our variable created. Now the next step is now we have to prompt the user a message. So we're going to put this one inside the while loop statement as well. So we're going to say please enter a value. Maybe, and then we're going to put the end of line statement there. So here we go. So we do have, so as you can see again, we have an error, right? So we made a mistake here. So the arrow should be the other way. So that's the beauty of IDE is. So whenever you make a mistake, it just immediately depict the error, and then you can rectify it right away. All right, the next step will be to ask for the input. So the users, the object, now what will happen is it's going to go through the loop and you're going to ask user to enter a value, and the value is obtained from a standard input. And if it's less than 999, then it will continue asking the user to enter an input. Good. So now the next thing we need to do is we need to add up the input. So we're going to say sum input plus sum. So this statement basically adds the value of the inputs together. Now here we see that the sum is depicting an error message. So what's the problem? The problem again is that we haven't declared here as a variable. So let's create the input sum. Let's initialize it as 0. So now we see the error message is gone. So we have our statement, our while loop statement, and we know what it needs to do. Now let's just test it before we add more information to it. So Control L F5. Let's see if it's compile and run and generates okay, and it does not fail. So here, good. So you see it keeps on obtaining the inputs. Now I enter something greater than, let's say I enter 1000. See, it stops. So good, this works as well. Now we have our information here. The next thing is we need to add our switch statement. So we're going to say switch sum open bracket the case. So what do we want to do? We're saying the case if it's let's see, 6, then we want to print a message saying the total is 6. End of line. And always we have to have a break. Next, what? We're gonna add another case statement. Let's see if it's equals to 10, for instance. So we're gonna add another statement here saying the total is 10. And okay, break. In the case statement also, we have to enter a default statement. Basically, it states if it doesn't meet these two criteria, 6 or 10, then it should print a default statement. So in this case, we're saying if it doesn't, the total sum is not equal to 6 or 10, then print a message. So here we are entering, we're stating that the total is not, or is not 6 or 10. Then of course we have to add our break statement, and then we need to close our bracket and put a colon there stating end of switch state. Okay, so our statement is complete as well. So let's go ahead and run this statement, this program. Control F5, say yes. Now let's enter a value. 1, 2, that's 3, 3, and then I'll enter 999. The total is 6, is not 6 or 10. So in this case, we had a number 6. It should have depicted the result 6, but somehow it did not. So we may have a problem here. So let's figure out what's going on. All right, in this case, we're trying to figure out what is the problem. As we notice that when it's equal to 6, the switch statement does not print a statement saying the total is 6. So the problem is that this input should be, this statement should be after the summation, because what was happening is the 999 was used and added to the sum, and that's why we had that problem. So now it adds first, then it adds for the input. Now that we have fixed the bug issue, let's rerun our program again. All right. Now we're going to enter 1, 2, 3. That should equal to 6. Now our search statement should print a statement for us. Oh, we didn't enter. We need to enter 999 to terminate the while loop statement. So as you can see, now it's saying the total is 6. 3 plus 2 plus 1, that equals 6. Let's review quickly. So our objective was to write a program to demonstrate how we can use a switch statement. In this program, we declare two variables, input and sum, initialize them to 0, and we create our while loop statement. And inside the while statement, we place the proper calculation and enter statement and the input. And then we had our switch statement. Once the loop was completed, the switch statement took over, and then based on the sum result, which was added here, and printed a statement for us. In this case, we enter 1, 2, 3, and 999 to terminate the loop, and the total was 6, and it printed 6. So this kind of concludes our search statement tutorial.